Well, hello everyone. We are starting our September reading vlog. I just put down Alessandro for a nap, so hopefully he'll let me film this clip. He was not wanting to go to sleep, but I think he's mollified now. I hope your September is going well, has gone well by the time you're seeing this video. For me, my reading month is already going really well. It's September 8th and I'm reading definitely more than I usually have been reading. I'm in the middle of 3 books, so wanted to sit down and let you know what I am working on at the moment. So first off, I have been revisiting Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire in this beautiful illustrated edition. This is definitely the Harry Potter book where we start to get more like social shenanigans with our main characters and like boys noticing girls and girls noticing boys a lot more, which I remember being kind of like annoyed about that aspect of this series when I first read it, but it's not bothering me as much now. It's more like it feels like the natural flow of the characters and like where they are in their life stage, which is what I'm sure J.K. Rowling was going for. But there's definitely more than the first 3 books. Even there's a lot of like plot holes or just like unexplained reasons why we're doing things. Like, for example, the Triwizard Tournament was just randomly brought back and it doesn't really make sense like why they brought it back, because they were like, well, why did we ever stop the Triwizard Tournament? And the answer was because people were dying and students were dying. And then it seems like they're just like, we just decided to bring it back this year because it's been too long and we need to bring it back. And it's not really like explained why the Triwizard Tournament is even coming back if like kids are dying, and they don't seem to have a good reason for it, or at least it's not really explained yet. So that was kind of odd to me, but whatever. Apparently Hogwarts, you know, they're just used to their students like being in mortal danger all the time, so I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but other than that, it's been fun. It's been a fun read for sure, as Harry Potter always is. Oh gosh, this is so heavy. Why am I holding this? It's so heavy. I'm gonna put that down. Another book, I'm also in the middle of an audiobook, and that is The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. This is also a reread for me. Apparently rereading is the theme for me this September. Rereading at least 2 books. So The Name of the Rose I read in high school, and I remember really liking it back then. It's set in the 1300s in a monastery, and we follow 2 characters that are supposed to be like references to Sherlock Holmes and Watson. William of Baskerville is the main detective. And so we're in this monastery where monks are being murdered, and William of Baskerville and Adso is the character that's supposed to be Watson. They're trying to figure out why monks are being murdered, and there's a lot of like literary references to other things, references to Jorge Luis Borges, and there's kind of a lot of just allusions. And I think when I was in high school, like we were learning about allusions in literature, and this was the book that my professor, they're not professors in high school, teacher, this is a book that my teacher wanted to use to teach us about allusions. And it's been a wild ride. This book is so crazy. It's such a weird book, but it's been really enjoyable so far. Audiobook is a little hard to follow, I will say, especially with like the language and how they'll just like start going into Latin sometimes, or like there's this one character who kind of speaks in a mixture of different languages, and that's definitely not easy to follow on audiobook. I don't know if I would do an audiobook again. I would definitely want to reread this. So I don't particularly recommend this on audio. I think physical is probably a better way to go with this book. It's a little hard to follow. And then the third and final book that I'm in the middle of currently is a book of the month book. I don't have the dust jacket right now, it's in the other room, but this is Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And I am loving this book to pieces. I don't know why I'm loving it quite so much. Well, maybe I do. A few things. First of all, I just think the writing is really good. I think it's really well written. We follow two characters. It's a boy and a girl, and they're basically best friends, and they are estranged from each other for a while, and then they come back together a little bit later, and they design a video game together. And it's really just about like their relationship and the ways that they are growing and coming of age. It's kind of a cross between coming of age novel and budding romance, or like, I have a feeling it's going to be more like unrequited love is what I'm thinking this book is more. I'm not sure they're actually going to like get together, but like for right now they're just best friends and they're making a video game together. And what's fun for me about this book too is that it's referencing a lot of like 90s video games, and I grew up playing a lot of video games, or at least knowing about a lot of these video games, because my dad was a huge gamer, and so gaming was like a strong part of my childhood. And my brother and I would play a lot of video games together, so it's referencing a lot of like the early like 90s, late 90s, early 2000s video games, when like a lot of exciting things were happening in the video game world. So that's been really fun for me to kind of relive. Another reason I love this book is because it's basically just like a huge character study. The complaints that I've seen about this book are that it's very slow and not a lot happens, or at least it happens really slowly. And I get that, I do see that, but I'm still like riveted because it's such a good character study, and we just go really in depth to like the lives of these characters. And I like how it also transitions kind of between perspectives, and it does that in a way that's like really organic. And it's not just like this chapter is this character and this chapter is this character, like a lot of books can tend to do when they jump perspectives. But like the way Gabrielle Zevin writes it is just like the perspective just goes seamlessly from one character to another, and I think that's really interesting. And I don't know if I've really read a book that does it that well. So I'm loving this, and I hope that I continue to love it. We will see. The only thing is I'm not reading it super fast because I've been reading Harry Potter a lot more physically. So I do want to like pick up the pace on this a little bit. But yeah, so it's September 8th. I haven't finished anything yet, but I'm in the middle of those 3 books. So yeah, hopefully we have some favorites here. I'm hoping that Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is a new favorite, but we shall see. Somebody woke up. He's like, excuse me, feed me right now. He escaped from his swaddle. He really likes to be swaddled to sleep. And he is a little Houdini, and he gets his arms out like really fast. But yeah, he's ready. Huh? Are we ready for a meal? Yes. We're ready, Mom. Let's go. Hey guys, it's September 12th now, and it just started pouring rain, which is pretty much an event in Southern California in September. It's usually still like super hot, and we don't get rain till like February. So we've been getting some stormy weather, which is so nice and cozy, and it's nice to be able to be home while it's been raining. And it's just giving me all the fall vibes, which I don't usually get at this time of year. Usually it still feels like summer, and it was not like 100 degrees last week, but we're getting a little reprieve, which is nice. But baby is sleeping. He's gonna wake up any minute. No makeup today because no time. Didn't have time. Didn't get that far in the day. Because that's what it's like having a newborn. But I did want to show you because I'm excited about it. I don't know what possessed me, what makes me think that I can do this, but I want to pick up bullet journaling again. It's something that I have tried to do on and off, and like it's like the type of person that I want to be. I want to be a bullet journaling type of person. It's something I aspire to, but it's not really me inherently. So I did order, I have a new bullet journal because my last one, I ordered it and I didn't know it was a graph journal. So it had like a grid, like graph, instead of little dots. So that made me less happy. So now I have a bullet journal with actual bullet points. I got these, actually I'm just gonna turn you around. I'm trying out these Amazon Basics pens, which they were like pretty cheap because they're Amazon brand. And so I thought I would take a risk on them rather than getting a nice name brand kind. But actually, I have tried them out now a little bit and they write really nicely. So these are some new bullet journaling pens, which I am excited about. And it comes with some nice colors and some like pastels and stuff. So, oh, baby's waking up. So that's exciting. And then I also got some cute pastel highlighters, which these are like some nice highlighters. So I did splurge on those a bit, but will I be able to be a bullet journaling type of person? Time will tell. Let me know your best. If you were a bullet journaling person, I would love to know your resources and inspiration. Like how do you find your spreads and stuff that you replicate? Because I'm gonna need some help with that. Just figuring out how to make it look nice, because I'm not artistic in like my own qualities at all. I need help. I need inspiration, and I need to be able to copy spreads. So let me know where you go for those things. There's probably some good, like, I don't know, Instagram accounts or something. I have no idea. But yes, we'll see. Maybe we can make a bullet journal pretty and functional. Dusty should not be sleeping on these because these are the insides of our pillows, because we're washing our pillow covers right now. But he's just so like blissfully happy that I don't have the heart to move him.
He's the reason we need to wash them.
I know, he's the reason we need to wash our pillow covers. Not just him, also the spit up from the child getting on the pillow covers. But look how cute and sweet he is. I don't have the heart to move him. He's just so happy. You just keep sleeping, little buddy. Hey guys, I'm actually in the grocery store parking lot. It's Tuesday, September 13th, and I am just hoping no one walks by and sees me filming myself, because that's awkward. But we're just gonna do it. We're gonna go with it. Julio's home with the baby. So I'm on my own for a hot minute to go to the grocery store. But I did want to update you, because I just very controversially, or at least it feels controversial to me, I just DNF'd a book after 10 pages, and I don't usually do that. And I feel really bad, but also, like, it's one of those things where when you know, you know. And I think I know. So, Cotillion by Georgette Hayer. This was a group read for the Fall Into Read-a-thon, read-along. Fall Into Read-a-thon. You know what I mean. And this was a Regency romance. I've never read a Regency romance, and I thought this one might be a good one to start with, because Georgette Hayer is like kind of the grandmother of Regency romance. Like, she kind of invented the genre, or is kind of credited with inventing the genre. And I was like, well, what better place to start? And the cover is super cute, and it just looked like something that I might like. But I tried. Maybe I need to try a little harder, but I think I'm done. But what really made me think that I was not gonna jive with the book was the way the characters are speaking. You can tell she's really trying to write her characters like they would speak in that era, but it felt really inauthentic to me, and it felt forced. And it's supposedly Georgette Hare researched really well as far as like using accurate phrases that they would have used at the time, just trying to paint a good picture of the Regency era. But to me, I don't know, it's as someone who read all the Jane Austen novels last year, I feel like I have a good grasp on like what the actual writing style should be, and to me this just wasn't hitting that mark, and I'm sad about it because it looks like a book that I would otherwise like, or at least like I don't want to be like I don't read romance, because it's not true. I have enjoyed romance books, but I've never read a Regency romance, and there is something about the genre that has kind of like kept me away from it, as something that I maybe might not like, and unfortunately this kind of like drove that home for me. But I don't think it's a great example necessarily. Like, I know it's like one of the early Regency romance novels, but it's probably not a good example of like the whole genre, you know what I mean? So I think maybe I should try something different. But yeah, the writing was not working for me. The dialogue wasn't working for me. It felt forced. It also was super info dumpy in that first chapter. I only read the first chapter. And just all those things together just made me... It was just a lot of red flags. And I'm just enjoying reading other things so much more. And I want to lean into that because I've had such a terrible reading year. And I don't want to get stuck again like I have been like the whole year. So I want to lean into the things that I'm enjoying, which is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I just really want to keep reading that book. And then Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire I'm almost finished with. So that's been fun as well. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stop with the Georgette Hare for the moment. But I'm not sure it's like a hard DNF, but it's at least a soft DNF for now. And maybe someday later, if I like get into the Regency romance genre a little bit more. But unfortunately, it wasn't working for me, and I don't want to get slumpy again. So yeah, that's what happened with that book. But I better go get grocery shopping. But I wanted to let you know that I have my first DNF of the month. Hey everybody, it is Sunday, September 18th perhaps, and I do have a reading update for you. I finished this morning Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire reread, and did the illustrated edition, which is just lovely. And this was one of the Harry Potter books that I didn't remember a ton about. I remembered it not being one of my favorites for some reason, and now on reread I really liked this one. I will say it's not without its issues. It doesn't quite make sense why did they bring the Triwizard Tournament back at any school setting? Like, why are you just allowing danger to happen? I don't know. Like, why are you putting the kids in danger? It doesn't make sense. But there are a couple other things that went a little unexplained, but overall, I had forgotten like that this is the book where like we have a turning point in the story. Like, the stuff hits the fan, and I really enjoyed the whole like ending scenes, drama, and had forgotten like how dark it gets in that last scene with you know who. This particular volume was really cathartic in like an emotional way, and it ends very sadly. I'm trying not to spoil it in case you haven't read Harry Potter, but like, I know most of us at this point at least have seen the movies. But there are some people out there who may not want to be spoiled, so I will be mindful of that. But this volume is so much more emotional than the first three, and does, by the ending, like, I feel like for the first half of Goblet of Fire, it still has the kind of vibe of the first 3 books, as far as like more dealing with the school setting and like the relationships. The kids are more like going through puberty and stuff in this one, so there's a little bit more boys noticing girls and girls noticing boys than was in the first 3. But once the tournament takes off, then it gets really a lot more dark, and the stakes are higher, and we get a lot more forward motion of our like main plot of the series. And so I just had a great time reading this. I read it in little bits and pieces, and it was perfect to just kind of like go in and out of. I only read it for maybe like 15 to 30 minutes at a time before I had to like go and do something else. And it was just the perfect book for that. So on reread, Goblet of Fire is, I don't know, it's kind of high up there for me. We're going to see where I would rank it after my entire reread of the series. But at the moment, I think it's probably my favorite of the first 4 books. So that's different. I thought Prisoner of Azkaban was my favorite of the first 4, but I think Goblet of Fire just took that spot. I'm actually still trying to get ready for the day. I, once again, need to go finish putting my makeup on. The baby allowed me to take a shower, but then when I got out of the shower, he was just screaming and crying and needed attention right away. So I took care of him, and then I still needed to get ready. So I'm finishing getting ready for the day. We did not do church today because Julio had a gig. He's out singing at another church, so he is coming back. He's bringing home some lunch, some Del Taco, delicious. And then we're talking about maybe selling our house and either buying or renting something, maybe renting and then paying off debt so that we can pay off some school debt and stuff, rather than be homeowners and trying to pay off debt. We could sell our house, pay off some debt with our money from the house, and then maybe rent a house and then save up in the future for maybe buying a house again. However, I don't know. We're also considering maybe just buying something as well, and still putting like some of the money that would have gone to a down payment on a house towards debt as well. And then we wouldn't be able to pay off all of our debt, but at least some of it. So all that said, we are gonna hopefully go look at this house that's nearby us that we saw on Zillow and want to check out. So that's kind of what we're up to the rest of the day. I don't know how much reading progress I will be making, but we will see. I have 3 hours left of The Name of the Rose. So that would be awesome if I could finish it today. I feel like I might be able to. I definitely have 3 hours worth of cleaning and feeding the baby. So that's usually when I've been listening to audiobooks, is cleaning, washing dishes, washing bottles, laundry. The laundry never ends when you have a little one. So much laundry, so much more than I ever did before. And then sitting on my couch feeding the baby takes a lot of time. Sometimes he takes a long time to eat. So I've been listening to an audiobook and making really good progress. And I think that's going to be a key for me to really like keep my reading up is audiobooks at the moment when I'm home. But I found lately that I have a lot of chores that I can easily like do and then put my mind on something else. So I think I'm liking getting back into audiobooks. I took a really long break from audiobooks and I'm glad they're back, and I want to keep them back. I think that's going to be a key for me in my reading life. Good morning, all. Today is Tuesday, September 20th. And I have made some reading progress. Yesterday, or the day before, I think yesterday, I finished listening to The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. So this was a reread for me, and I did audio the second time around, but it had been a really long time. And this book was so much more nihilistic than I remembered it being, which is pretty normal for postmodern literature. And I remember that kind of came back to me as like a conversation in my class when we were reading this in my class. That's the last time I read this was in a school setting, and I just kind of forgot how muddled the ending and like the moral is, and like there's not like, is there a moral, is there not a moral? There's kind of not, but it's a little bit like nonsensical, and he does this on purpose. He wants to leave it up to the reader to interpret, and it's definitely muddled. And you can get a lot of different things out of it, but overall I really enjoyed my reread of this. I would say I don't recommend it on audio for a first time reader, and even for a second time reader there were things that I had to just kind of like let wash over me, because you can't sit there and like analyze it. This is definitely more of a physical read kind of book, so I would recommend that if you've never picked it up before. I would say if you are willing to take the time with it, then I think it's one of those books that is worth it. I'm giving it 4 stars this time around. I don't think it's a favorite book of all time for me. I had given it 5 stars the first time around. I'm not sure I agree with the conclusions that it reaches, but this is such a romp. It's such a crazy romp of a book, and the ending is so chaotic, and I had honestly just forgotten how it ended, and so that was an interesting surprise. In this book, it's so gripping a lot of the time, and then other times we're plodding through trying to like understand the historical and theological disputes that they're having, which are also really interesting. So I would say if you don't enjoy that kind of text, then maybe this is not a book for you, because the mystery kind of thriller aspect of it, that's more like detective series part, is going to appeal to some people, and then the historical theological part might not appeal as much to that reader. So I feel like you have to like both in order to really get into this. So The Name of the Rose, a good reread for me. I would read it again, but physically, maybe in a few years down the road. But yeah, I don't recommend this on audio just because it's very dense and hard to track sometimes. So done with this. All right. I'm surprised that I got to reread this year, and then I need to follow up with Christy because she sent me some Voxers about it, because we buddy read this and I have not piped in. She sent me a bunch of Voxers and I need to respond. I'm a terrible book friend. Okay, so this next part, I'm doubting myself. So I don't know if I should un-DNF this book. The group that's reading this, they've already finished it, I believe. Yeah, they're done with it. So I would just be reading it on my own at this point. But I don't know. I think I was expecting... Okay, I can be kind of pretentious, to be honest, with my my affinity for writing style, and like writing style is really important to me. Is it the most important thing? Like, can I get past a writing style that I have criticisms about for the sake of just like a good time? Because I think this book might be a good time if I could get past that. Just that the dialogue doesn't feel authentic to me. And it does feel like someone writing in the mid-century trying to sound like they're writing from a Regency era like style, but it's very obvious that it's not Jane Austen. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be Jane Austen, but I think because it's trying to sound like that, I think that's what bothers me, and that like it can't live up to that. Like, the writing style can't live up to Jane Austen because she's a legend. And that's okay. Georgette Hare doesn't need to be Jane Austen. Can I look past that and just read it just for fun, you know, and like let that not bother me. I don't know. What do you think? Should I un-DNF this and just try and go a little further than chapter 1? I'm debating it because I feel like I might have a good time with this, with this author in general. And so I almost feel like I gave up too fast, and now I'm kind of like, should I try again? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know if I'm going to fit it into September, but like maybe eventually down the line I can come back to this. Maybe it would be a good like book for a video of like books that I DNF the first time and I want to try again. Might be good for that. Do a vlog down the line. I don't know. So I'm feeling very conflicted about this and this author. Maybe I just need to let go and not be so picky with my writing styles. I don't know. But in other news, I kind of put this down to finish The Name of the Rose and Harry Potter, and now I need to pick it back up. I am kind of getting to the middle, sort of. So, was still really loving this. Excited to come back to it. And then I will either restart Cotillion if I feel like it, or I will start Ruin and Rising, which, oh my goodness, I really want to get this off my TBR. Ooh, we're like shining. We're blinding you here in the camera with the light on the book. I really want to get this off my TBR and finish this trilogy because that would be great. And then I could move on. Because the whole reason I picked these up to read were so that I could get to Six of Crows, which is sitting up there on top of the shelf somewhere. So in order to get to Six of Crows, I wanted to finish this trilogy off. Can I do it in September? It's the 20th. We have 10, 11 days or so. Our friends are selling their house and they are kind of like, are you interested in buying our house? And they have it's a nice house. It's very close to the house that I'm living in now, but it's a little bit bigger. It's just a city over from where we are. It's like 2,100 square feet, something like that, 2,100 square feet. And so they have 3 bedrooms, and we only have 2 bedrooms here. They have a nice backyard, and now that we, are growing our family and we have a kid, we are definitely feeling like we need to expand our living space a little bit. Our house right now is it's not like super small, but it's small. It's like 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,100 square feet. It's a lovely house and it's super cute, and we will miss it very much if we move out. But we're feeling like with our growing family and possibly thinking about like having another kid down the line, we'll see. But we're feeling like we do need a bigger space, especially as Alessandro gets bigger. So we shall see. So we're meeting with some realtor agents today. They're coming over at 12:30. So we're just kind of hanging out until then, making sure our house is clean. They're going to look at our house for the first time and like maybe give us an idea of like what our house is worth, and also like what kind of upkeep and updates we need to do to our house before we sell it. I'm concerned about our roof. Our roof needs to be replaced. And so they might say you need to do that first, which that's going to be expensive. Clean up the backyard a little bit and pull out some of the bushes. There's some like overgrown things happening in our backyard. So we'll see what they say. But yeah, we'll keep you posted on that. It is September 27th, perhaps. Reading-wise, I've gone completely off book, basically, for this month. Finished Name of the Rose, finished Harry Potter. Still in the middle of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Haven't really started Ruin and Rising. But I have read 2 other books. So I finished The Reading Life by C.S. Lewis, which I found on Scribd. I recently renewed my Scribd subscription. I had not had it for a while, and then I decided to get it again. So the reason being, I have a lot more time to listen to audiobooks right now. So I wanted to have audiobooks again. So Scribd has a lot of them. And then I just learned that Spotify just put a bunch of audiobooks up too. That's new. I knew they had some audiobooks on there, but they've like upped their audiobook game. So that's pretty cool. And so I read The Reading Life by C.S. Lewis, or rather I listened to it. And this was just like a compilation of like various things that C.S. Lewis has said about reading, because he was a very prolific reader and he read a lot, and also he remembered everything he read and was just like generally a brilliant mind. But this book was a little bit more of like a compilation than anything. I think people like compiled different things from different sources and put them all in this little compilation, and it was fine. Like, it was a good read if you like C.S. Lewis. If you don't like care about C.S. Lewis, I don't see why you would care what he would have to say about reading. Yeah, it's more, I feel like this is more for C.S. Lewis fans already, and you may have read a lot of the works that they take these quotes from. So like, if you've read a lot of C.S. Lewis, this is kind of redundant, but he has some really good nuggets about reading and just how it enriches your life. I feel like this is a very cozy read, and it just kind of reinvigorates you as a reader a little bit, and validates your reading hobby. So this was fun. I really enjoyed it, but I don't know if everyone would really enjoy it if you don't care for C.S. Lewis. So I love C.S. Lewis, so this worked for me. I'm also in the middle, about halfway through, a book called This Is What It Sounds Like by Susan Rogers and another person. There's like a co-author, and I don't remember their name. I learned about this book from Olive, from a book Olive, and she rated it 5 stars and put it on my radar. As a music enthusiast myself, I wanted to pick this up. I hadn't seen like a new popular nonfiction music book come out in a while, and this one kind of piqued my interest. I'm really enjoying it. This book basically is written from a woman's perspective. There's a co-author, but you don't really hear from the co-author. You really hear from Susan Rogers. And Susan Rogers is a professor at the Berklee School of Music, and she has a long running career in the recording industry. She's worked with Prince and like a bunch of other famous recording artists that you would know if I named them off. I just can't think of any right now, but Prince was like the main, like, biggest one that she worked with, and she like, got to know Prince very well, and even worked with him on like his most famous album, Purple Rain. And so she is coming from that background of more like popular music, and writing about how music listeners and how your music taste is defined by certain things, and the things that you gravitate towards will explain your music taste, basically, and that everybody has different taste for different reasons. And she basically breaks down like what the elements of music are and why you might gravitate towards certain elements more than others, and what that might say about your music habits, your listening habits. It's really good. I feel like this book is really just trying to demystify music and how music works without going into a lot of music theory, because that's also not really Susan Rogers' background. She like doesn't play an instrument. She got into music because she was an avid listener, really, and she developed an ear from listening and had never played an instrument and didn't know how to read music and didn't really understand that side of things. And that's the side that I'm coming from, as like I understand music in a very technical way. This was my major in college. I am deeply invested in like how music works, and I nerd out about that. But like she's coming from at music as a professional as well, but kind of from this different venue. And so for me, this has been really interesting to see it through her eyes, because I come from like a different, more like classically trained side. And so I think this book is really great for everyone, regardless of what your music background is. Like if you like music at all, this would be a book for you. And I like that this is so accessible and super interesting. And I've learned some things that I didn't know. And she has really like interesting tidbits about artists she's worked with as well. Things that I didn't know about like Frank Sinatra and like what he was kind of going for and what he was inspired by. Like he was inspired by violin playing when he went to a Heifetz concert, and his signature vibrato that he does with his voice is like inspired by violin playing. And there's just a bunch of things that I didn't really know about certain artists. So she has some really interesting tidbits. And as far as like when she goes into like, she breaks down what melody is and stuff like that, like I know all of that stuff. And so some of that feels redundant to me as I'm reading it, but like what she does and like the points she makes within those chapters and how she breaks them down so that you can understand without having to have like an in-depth knowledge of music theory is really great. So I think this book is awesome. It has tons of listening references though, and I would say like it is kind of hard to do the audiobook because you kind of have to pause a lot and go listen to a song if you aren't familiar with it. For the ones that I'm familiar with, which is a lot, I'm familiar with a lot of her references, but sometimes there's been some that I didn't know. And so I like pause the audiobook and then go listen to it and then come back to the audiobook. So that can be kind of clunky. So I would say a physical copy might be easier generally. That way you can listen to the music as you're reading it kind of, and have your device free and not have to like switch through apps. But I'm doing the audiobook and I'm switching apps and I'm finding it fairly doable. So yeah, this has just been a good one to pick up, and I've totally like abandoned my TBR a little bit. I'm probably not going to finish tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, and I'm definitely not going to finish Ruin and Rising. So I guess those are carrying into October, which will be interesting because I have a lot of other books that I want to read in October because Victober, and also just spooky season in general. What can you do? What can you do? But I've enjoyed mood reading a little bit, which is not a thing that I usually allow myself to do. So maybe I'm a mood reader. I feel like I've got my reading mojo back a little bit. I will have finished 4 books in September, and that's the most amount of books that I've finished in a month all year. So maybe I need to do a little more mood reading. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. Maybe I should give myself more freedom. That being said, I think I'm probably gonna have to end the vlog here because the next few days we're gonna be getting our house ready for our open house, and then our open house is gonna happen this weekend, and I'm not gonna have time to read much or vlog. So I think this is the end of our vlog. My little man is gonna wake up here in a minute and he's gonna be hungry. So I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you for watching this reading vlog. It's kind of like a reading vlog, reading wrap up in a way. I don't know. I feel like I didn't go anywhere interesting. I mostly just was in my house for this whole vlog, but hopefully that's okay. Take care, keep reading great books, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.